holders. We have to become dust specks. Oh, hello Lynn.
Yeah.
When did you come? When?
You mean just this morning?
This morning?
No. I've been here for 5 weeks.
5 weeks you're here.
Yeah. I've missed seeing you. It's so good to see you.
Oh, so good to see you back here. Did you go to Hamirpur this time?
No, Just here.
Just here. Why are you so close to Steve? What happened?
We have a secret, it's not a secret.
What is that? I don't follow.
You know that we're engaged to be married now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
When?
Soon when we get back to the West.
It's good. So it was a secret, that means. Last time when you came here, you never told us anything, never even hinted.
I didn't know.
You didn't know? Then he must be knowing it. Jack hasn't come?
Jack will be coming tomorrow night. In Virginia also.
They are in Bombay?
Yeah.
Good. So now what should we do? Just sit here quietly? Huh? Dara? you please shut your shop now and we'll snooze here a bit.
Brad says, Eruch, please tell us some nice Baba story.
Oh, no, there is no question of stories now. What I am saying is that all the time we have been talking, but never have given a thought to any silence, you see. We should have some silence also. It would help us all. What do you think, Gabriela? You are young and you must be having good thoughts on... You like to talk or you would like to observe? Keep silent.
I do.
Sure?
She does.
That's good.
Is this a new technique you've discovered?
Well, it's not discovered, we just realized.
So the example finally set in?
Not yet set in.
Eruch, you've had 30 years of silence, you think. Is that enough?
30 years of silence.
31 years?
31 years. What do you mean 31?
You with Baba for 31 years, you had his silence all that time.
Yeah, we had his silence, that's true. But we never found that there was silence all around us, because it was buzzing with all activity. Yeah. Never had a scope to feel the silence. Because he never kept silence, you know. We say that he observed silence for 44 years and all that, but well, his silence was very eloquent. Yeah. You never felt his silence. Did you feel his silence? No? Don, you felt his silence? When you were...
Heard the silence
You heard the silence?
with Baba?
Yeah?
Baba was so mobile all of the time, like...
Yeah. There was no question of feeling that somebody is silent. His silence was there, but he was not silent. I don't know how to describe that fact. Full of activity, full of new things, full of fun and humor. Wouldn't allow anyone to sit, let alone anybody to snooze or just nap or anything of sort. But in spite of it, there were some instances where somebody would start having a nap, and sure enough, the board would come flying to that person. Yeah. Yes. And hard luck for the one who is very close to him, because he would just lean over and give a bang on the here, you see, on that funny bone. Yeah. And funny thing happened was, my father, who was an engineer, he worked with metals. So he thought that, well, this sort of board that was used, you know, cardboard, first it was just a cardboard, then it was paper being pasted on plywood and all that, and that would get wasted and all. So he thought an idea, because he was a practical person, he wanted everything to be long lasting and all that. So he got an idea of getting a copper plate made of the board, embossed in it were the letters, so that they would be permanent all the time. And very happily one day he comes and presents the board to Baba. Not too heavy, but it was rather heavy. Baba looked at it, as usually admired anybody's efforts of love and all that. And he had good words to tell my father and all that. And then he said, mind you, this would put me into trouble if I were to use this. He says, why? He says, you know, I have the habit of throwing this board. And if it strikes somebody's neck, it will just be guillotined. Yeah. So it's better not to use it. I don't know who has that board, but it was made there. Yeah. So he never used it. And of course he discarded the use of the board eventually. He never used any board.
What did he throw then?
Huh?
What did he throw then?
Well, he became more mild. He permitted people. Well, he knew that after all, in spite of my silence, my giving them so many words and all that, well, he said that he then didn't deal with the ears. He started dealing directly with the hearts. There was no need for the ears. So he started penetrating through the hearts, touched the hearts of people very deeply when he stopped the board. He spoke directly to them. And this is the result. Yeah. So when did we, where did we leave off when you left, Brad? Which story was half said?
The last story I heard you tell?
Half said, half story?
I know what the last story I ever heard you tell, which was 4 years ago was. But I don't know if that's where we left off. That was about the gong up there.
Oh, since then you see the gong started ringing, and then it. You were here when it started ringing? It fell down.
Yeah, I understand. It's been pasted together?
Yeah. It fell down, broke into two, and gave loud report, loud ring as before, original ring.
Huh.
And then people were very happy to hear it ring again.
Huh.
And, well, as a showpiece, you know, people would come and ring the bell, the two pieces together. And so one person in the crowd one day thought of having a relic, so he pocketed one of the smaller pieces. And in the evening when I started trying to see everything was in order, I found this missing. And luckily the people hadn't gone out yet, hadn't left the place. So I inquired and said, yeah, I have taken it as a relic. I said, you please get it back, let us have it back. So I stuck it again, and it has become again silent, the silent gong. Hassan, what do you like to hear about Baba? I'm sure Don must have filled your ears to the brim with Baba. What would you like to hear about Baba? Anything particular?
On love.
Oh, what a subject that is. Just 4-lettered word, but it contains the whole universe in it. Yeah. There is no end to it, no beginning to it. It's because of the love ever it started, because of love that was there. That's what Baba said. He said that I am love. And every time when I take Advent, love gets personified and is made more tangible. Don, would you translate these things or just keep quiet? What should we do?
I think
What is the procedure would like
they're
to?
recording it, and so rather than disrupt the whole group, usually, we go back over later the cassette.
Oh, I see.
I don't want a disruption.
So please excuse us if we speak in English. You won't mind?
Last time you were recording?
Oh, yes?
Yes.
So well, what he said was this, that it all began because of love. Even, let us digress a bit, even at later stages when we used to have fights and quarrels amongst ourselves, he would just put it down, pacify us and says, well, it's all because of love. Even the wars are fought because of love. Even the nations are ripped and taken apart, you see, because of love. Everything is because of love. Now, love has many directions, many facets. But the love that we are talking about is of the original, the origin of love was that because he was love, he is love, and whenever he took form and came in our midst, he personified love and made it more tangible. And when he made it more tangible, naturally, we felt the love also. So we would like to love in return. And then he said to us that the whole creation is based on this. He was full of love. He was love himself, itself or himself, whatever you want to call it. And love needs to be shared. Love needs to flow. So, it's in its nature, it's the trait of love, to share, to flow. And he being all by himself and nothing besides him, and being the vast ocean of love, the taste of stagnation was not palatable, it seemed to him. So he needed sharing. He got the urge to share that love. He wanted it. He gave a good example to us. He said, suppose if you are the only one on earth and you are the most wealthy person, you own everything that is in the bowels of the earth, above the earth, over the surface of the earth, if you are the sole exclusive owner of it and can do nothing about it, so does it give any pleasure? It won't. What will you do with that? If you even own the whole world, whole earth, there's no pleasure in it. So it needs some sort of exchange, some sort of sharing. So likewise my love was there. It was so much that in it is intrinsic that it must be shared, it must flow. But I had none to share with. So what could I do? So then, well, I got a sort of a thought to share it, but there was nobody besides me to share it. So how to share it? So then he said, he remembered the Don, he brought this in his conversation about the game that I think it was prevalent at the time in France or something. What do you call that game when you play it all by yourself?
Oh, solitaire.
Solitaire. Is it a French word?
Yes, solitaire, it means alone.
Yeah. So solitaire, game of solitaire, I had to play. I was the only one. So what I do is created partners. So this is Hassan, and this is Eruch, and this is Kent, and so forth. Just nobody is there besides him. But this would go to him, this would go to him, this would go to her, and so forth. So I started the game of solitaire. But besides being love, infinite love, I am infinite existence, he said. And then what happened is that being infinite existence, it was existence that was imagining Hassan, Eruch, Kent, and so forth. So while imagining, infinite existence imagining, it carried with it the stamp of existence. So it never remained just as imagination. It got concretely created. So Hassan got created, Kent got created, Eruch got created, and so forth. So they were there. Inadvertently they thought that they are, but they were just nothing but my imagination having the stamp of infinite existence with it. So they existed as non-existences. And they remained. And that's how the love started flowing. From the ocean of love, it went to different hearts. And Hassan had that love, and Eruch had that love, and Kent had that love, and this Tom, Dick, Mary, Jill, Jack, and all that. Now what happens is that when this love is there, it is but the reflection of the love that comes from the original love. So when we say that we love, it's nothing but we are reflecting the love that we have received. It's the reflection. We don't love at all. We don't know what love is. It's just reflecting. So what happens is Baba carries us further and further. This is just the stage of humankind, human beings. But then when the human beings consciousness further evolves, and then it is complete, it is matured no doubt in human beings, but then it's burdened with impressions, so sanskaras as Don calls it. So when the sanskaras get lesser and lesser and lesser and all that, so then what happens is gradually that reflection is more powerful, much more powerful. Just as when the mirror is specked with dust particles, so it's not clear, but still it reflects the sunlight, isn't it? So likewise the love can be reflected, but then with sanskaras getting fainter and fainter, the reflection becomes brighter and brighter. So the persons on the path, they become more and more loving, they love. But then that love is also the reflection, because Baba says that nobody can love unless I give the gift of love. Love, when real loving begins, is when I give the gift of love. So this love that we have now, we profess that I love Meher Baba, I love God, I love Jesus the Christ, I love Buddha, I love Muhammad, I love Krishna, and all that is nothing but our reflections of love speaking out like that. It's not real love. So real love is had when He gives us the gift of love. And that gift is given to us at a very late stage. So what had happened was, now let us digress a little. This is how it all, the creation is there, you see, to love and be loved. So He wanted to be loved, He shared the love, and that love when it's returned is being loved. Love being loved, because the reflection is there. So that's how it is. Now a little digression is there. Now when He comes in our midst, He tells us the same story, that it all started because of me. It's because of love that the whole creation is there and all that. So all I now want you all to do, my message is just love. Love God. Love me. Because I am that. I have come again in your midst. I am the same ancient one come again. All what you have to do is to love me. That's my message, nothing more. So he used to go out in the country telling people like that. Masses of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people there. So one day in the crowd, when Baba was saying that I have come not to give you any other message except the message of love. All I want from you is love me. That's my message. And that has been said time and again, right from the very beginning. So one from the crowd stands up. But how to love you? Then promptly comes the reply from Baba. Well, did you ask me when you started loving your wife? How to love your wife? What happened? He says, well, I met her, I saw her and fell in love with her. So you saw her and you fell in love with her. So likewise you have to see me and fall in love with me. Then you'll love me. But aren't we seeing you? This is not. I am not this. I am the inconceivable one, unapproachable. You can't approach me. But these are the little things, the forms that I take, help you to conceive my reality. I am reality. This form is there to make that reality approachable, that inconceivable thing made conceivable. So what you have to see me is my reality, the beauty, the infinite beauty. This is how to do it, how to love you then. So he then gave us this very beautiful discourse. In the crowd, he's giving us. Have you ever heard that before? Did Don tell you this discourse on this love? How to love? Oh, so then, okay. So what happened is, he's telling there are tens of thousands of people there, and one person stands up, and we are beholden to that person who put up this question, who was bold enough to say, but how to love you? You say, love me. Because of that, we can now recollect and recall his words. So what he said was this. He says, men of the world fall in love. They have their beloved. When they see, then what happens when they see? A man sees a woman and he falls in love. Then what happens? Then he continues to think about her. He goes mad trying to think about her, bring her image before his mind's eye and all that. All the time she is in the thought. He remembers her umpteen times during the day. And he's mad after her, wants her, wants to possess her, wants to have her whole. Isn't it? That's the way of the world, no? Yeah. So he asked there, is that the way of the world? He says, yes. That's how it was. So, but he says that is how when a man in the world falls in love with a woman and makes her the beloved. But with me, it's quite different. With the way of the world is that you have to first see the person and then fall in love with the person. You cannot see me as I really am. You will see this coat, this form of mine, which I am not. This form has been taken, he said, so that which is inconceivable is permitted to be conceived through this medium. But I am not this. I am not this form. So how will you see me as I really am? So he says, men of the world fall in love after seeing. But men on the path, men who really want to love me, they can't see me. So their only way to approach me, to see me, is to remember me in the beginning. Worldly man, when he falls in love, he begins to remember after having seen. But for the spiritual love, first you have to begin to remember. Remember me. Repeat my name. Strive your very best to remember me in many multifarious ways, you see. How will you remember me? Now that you have modern amenities, you can have pictures of me, posters of me, or just now that I have taken this form, you have seen this form, it's good, you are blessed. Just bring this form before your mind's eye, it's a picture of reality. So continue to think of me, remember me. Make it a point to remember me 4 times a day, 5 times a day, once a day at least. Begin with once a day and continue it, increase it as many times as it possible. Have little cards, have little posters, put them in your drawing room, sitting room, bedroom, toilet room, anywhere you want, so that you are reminded about my presence, about me. Then he went further, that when a man does that, and sure enough, what happens when he begins to love me, when I bless him with my love, with the reflection of my love, so he begins to love me. He begins to reflect that love through the pictures and through many things, the relics or anything of the sort. So what happens is that he has pictures all around his house, inside his house, in the toilet and all that. And he goes on remembering me through seeing pictures. Then he is fed up of this. He wants something more tangible, you see. So he says, the thing is that the best thing for me, I have got these pictures, I remember. Then he sets a clock. He has little tickers. He has got timings. At 12 o'clock I must remember him. 6 o'clock I must remember him. And so forth. Before going to bed I will remember him. When I get up I will remember him. So that's how he goes on remembering. Then comes a time when he even wants to go further deeper in his love for him, wanting to remember him. And then he says, Baba tells that man, so what he does is, he tries to find out ways and means. What did he like? What did he do? What did he say? So he goes on reading the books then. Then he goes on reading, he tries to find out the names of the books that are on Baba, what are his ways, what are the things that he has said, what messages he gave, and all that. He's not interested in what he said, but the reflection of his love is so great that entices him to go in for these books, go in for the words that are there. So then he has done away with that process of looking at the pictures. Now he goes for the words. Then he says, a time comes, he says, no, that's there, it's true, it's good, but he would like to go and contact the people who were with him. So he would like to go and have the first-hand information. So he goes out in search of people who were with Meher Baba. Were you with Meher Baba? Have you seen him? Have you seen him? Tell me something more about him and all that. So he gathers first-hand information, so to say. Then Baba says that even that, he is satisfied in his own region that is there. Then he says, well, I must visit the places where he had set his foot down. So he goes from one place to another, traveling all over the country. Then he crosses the oceans, the continents and all that, and goes from one continent to another, wherever he had been, you see. So he goes and visits the places. He feels happy. He derives a lot of love from that, a lot of remembrance of Baba. So he goes on remembering him more deeply, more intensely. But that is the intensity of remembrance. But he hasn't yet fallen in love, Baba says. But he is remembering him. Because to fall in love spiritually is to first remember me as I should be remembered. And the height of remembrance is not this yet. This is just the beginning of remembrance. So he goes from place to place. How many places have you visited? He went all over the places, all over this country, trying to find out what has happened, where did he visit, who were the persons who contacted, who has seen him, and so did you not go out? Yeah. So this is how it happens. So he goes out from one place to another. He doesn't know why he's doing it, but he has to. It is the love that is being reflected more powerfully now, draws him to these things. So he goes on. Then he goes on, you see, from one place to another place to another. Then he feels that he has covered all this ground. Then he's not satisfied with this yet. Then what happens, he comes back to the place where he is. And he has seen the pictures, he has seen the posters, he has read the words, he has met the people, he has visited the grounds that he had walked upon. This is all what Baba is telling that man, mind you, in that crowd. How to love me, he says. And then what happens when you begin to love me? So what happens is then he just keeps quiet at his place. And then he begins. He now finds a different way of remembering him. And he says, now he has gathered a lot of things, you see. So he remembers the words that he has read, that Baba had traveled here, and Baba did this, and Baba went there, and Baba ate this, and Baba wanted this, Baba used this particular brand of soap, and Baba did this, and Baba must have traveled in the summer, and what. So when he now Baba says, what happens to him is that this man,
The
while
French group, please. You can go to Maharana with Michelle. Where is Michelle? Yes, please.
Mani, the gentlemen also, or just the ladies?
Huh?
The men also, or just the ladies?
No, everybody.
All the French, tous les Français, tous les Français.
it can wait.
Mani.
Yeah. We'll continue next time. Will you remember where we are now? Where? How far have we come?
Beginning real remembrance.
Yeah.
Hassan? Hello? You want to leave it on?
Yeah,
I'll work. And turn it on? Okay.
I'll work this way.
You are from Spain or you are from France?
No, I'm just trying to fix
Don,
the
you are from Spain or France?
Well,
I
I'm
will
from
show you how
Monaco.
to cut the
But,
Monaco.
but I think it is better that you go with them. You go with the French group.
so that as much.
Is that, ask Mani if that was,
Don always with French groups are there. You
Yes,
want-
indeed.
okay, well, I'm French today.
Once thought, twice thought.
Eric, are you ready
So
for
what
another
happened?
question?
No, we'll continue because they never understood this.
But they're here.
Yeah, they are here. So what happened is, then the person is not satisfied.
I think the tape should continue because it's taping.
It is, yes.
So then what happens is that the man is remembering him all the more. But he now finds solace in remembering him in a different way. And his remembrance is now when he drinks a cool glass of water, he remembers Baba. He remembers the personification of love. He says, oh, this cool glass of water gives such a good feeling within me. He must have traveled all over the country in hot summer. This glass of water must have cooled him so much. So anything that satisfies him within, good food, while eating the morsels, he remembers him. Oh, he must have eaten this, he must have done this, he must have taken walks here, he must have done this. And then he goes on with every morsel that he takes, he remembers him. With a gulp of water, ice cream, yeah, we have heard that Baba liked ice cream too. Popcorns, oh yes, he loved. So that's how he associates things, you see, with Baba and what his likes with it. So he remembers him. Then what happens is, Baba tells that man, he says he's not satisfied with that. Then he has gone to that extent of remembering him in every little thing that he just settles himself at one place. Now his wanderings, his urge to find out and all that is just no more there. He just is beholden to the whole nature, the whole creation. So his remembrance is through all the creation that he sees. He sees the colors, he sees the leaves, the green, the shades of green, the shades of pink and the red. He says, what a creation that he has created. Now he turns towards him being the creator. So he remembers him through all the creation. And Baba then at that time tells the man who had asked the question, he says, this whole creation is created as reminders to remember me. Yeah. Everything that is there is nothing but stands out plainly and boldly as a reminder to remember me. It has no other purpose but to remember me. And they are the reminders to remember me. So when he goes on remembering him through these reminders, which are just enveloping him all over the place.
Not only the good things.
Everything, bad thing, good thing, everything that is there. The whole creation is there to act as a reminder to remember him. So then he remembers. And then after remembering, now a stage comes when he's no more remembering him. He is now in the stage of glorifying him. Glorifying him. So he glorifies him. In every little thing he glorifies him. And this process of glorifying him, goes to that depth where he has no words to glorify him. He's just choked. He's just helpless. And that is the time when my gift descends. That's what he told him. Baba told him that that's the time when I give the gift of my love to the person who is now absolutely choked, has nothing more, nothing of his own. He's lost in me. So the gift is there. The moment he receives the gift, he sees me as I really am. That is the moment when he has received the gift. And that is the experience of the sixth plane of consciousness. So he sees me as I really am. He sees that infinite beauty of reality. Because he sees now, but not with these eyes, but with the third eye, which is more potent and sees more realistic than what we see with our gross eyes. Yeah. If you want to have the experience, have it. We can't describe it. So what happens is that he's just stunned there, having the beauty there, seeing him now. Then he falls in love. This is the stage when he really falls in love. You follow? It takes such a long process to fall in love with the real beloved. With the man of the world, Baba says, you fall in love the moment you see the person. Here, to see me as I really am, you have to go through the process of remembering me first. And then you fall in love. Then when you fall in love, you begin to love. Real loving starts. Then you begin to love him. You want to love him more and more. The more you love, you feel that you are loving him less. Persons, they just, I don't know, I don't have the experience, but that's what he described, that they just get themselves lost in loving him. And the pleasure, the charm of loving him is so great. In the beginning, when they see him on the sixth plane of consciousness, when they fall in love with him, there is that urge to become one with him. Just as when a man falls in love on this earth planet, he has the urge to just have hold of him, hold of the person, whole of the person, have a hold of the whole person itself. And so also the same thing there. But then what happens is, that is not possible, because there is that gulf between you and me. You can't be united. Just as on the earth planet also you can't be. There is a gulf there, you see. Where parents are there, the society is there, what will the others think? You can't go and grab the person you fall in love, you know. So there is that little gulf that is there. So this is imaginary gulf, illusory gulf. There is that gulf of reality, between reality and illusion now. So it's not possible. So what happens? You go on loving, go on loving. The more you love, you feel that you are loving the person less and less and less. So your beloved is not being loved properly as he should be loved. So he goes on. In that process, he begins to love the charm of loving. And now that even the slightest inclination to become one with the beloved is all lost, because he doesn't want to become one. He wants to love. He wants to go on loving and loving and loving all the more, and still yet more and yet more, and so forth. This is what Baba is telling that man, mind you. Then what happens is that the whole charm, this man who has fallen in love with his beloved, wants to continue to love, but unfortunately an accident takes place. And that most unfortunate event is the beloved of the lover becomes the lover of the and the lover becomes the beloved. So the beloved stoops down, has fallen in love with the lover. So he you may call it, the beloved has become the lover. And no sooner the beloved has become the lover, naturally lover is raised to the level of the beloved of the beloved. So what happens is, that is known as the union, where you realize, and you lost the whole charm, the game is all lost. It's most unfortunate event.
That's your word.
Baba didn't say that.
No.
But this is mine. Yeah. So that's how love is. The whole thing is because of love. So the most important thing in our living or in our non-existences is to love him as he should be loved. First of all, in order to love him as he should be loved, we must remember him as he should be remembered. And then it is followed by loving him as he should be loved. And when we begin to love him as he should be loved, he cannot stand the warmth of the lover. That heat of the lover is so great that the beloved himself falls in love with the lover. And he becomes the lover. And the lover is raised to the pedestal of the beloved. And that's the union. That's the end of the whole creation. Creation ends.
Baba had given in a comparison of the love as we call it, as we experience it, human being, human love, and divine love. And to me it's very meaningful because the illustration that Baba gives, I've had experience of that. So I know what he means when he says that human love, even at its highest, even in the case of love of Laila and Majnun, which was to such height that it touched the divine. It seems Majnun saw Laila wherever he looked. Or there was human love, it was of its highest that it touched the divine. Even that love, Baba says, even that highest of human love which touches the divine, is but an ant bite, a little ant biting you, compared to the divine love, which is like a scorpion bite. And to me, I know what a scorpion bite is. I'm the most allergic to scorpion bite. Some don't feel it as much. The agony, the indescribable agony of the scorpion bite. And an ant, what's an ant? And when a little thing that you just feel a little touch and you brush it off. So when Baba compares these two, and we who have no experience or idea of the divine love that Baba talks about, and if we know the highest of human love, can you imagine the comparison? That is why they say it is not a joke. Divine love is no joke.
Baba called it as blissful agony. Loving at that stage is blissful agony.
But it's like that.
It's agony, agonizing, agonizingly blissful.
That's what they're just completely lost to everything. But to Baba's heart, a lover is most dear. Seekers have that phrase. Baba explains all about it. Baba, we have books on all the things that happened, but to Baba's heart, when he would look so happy, when he would beam with joy, was when he were with the lovers of God, the musts, who were overcome by their love for God, not the seekers who know what they want. No, the mass, the lovers who want nothing. They do not even want to want. They're completely lost in love for the beloved. And whenever after Baba had been with the men Mangle and the women Mangle with all the headaches and all the night, sometimes he called us pearls, more often he called us second-hand furniture. But when he was with the mass, for us to see Baba, oh, he was so delighted, so that joy that Baba had on his face. So you see, a lover is very dear to the beloved. So what we should do is just love him. How do we love him? Because Baba says so it will be. We are simply to try. Baba says love me more. Because Baba says love me more, we will love him more. Not because we have anything of our own to create and give him, but because he has said so.
He will ask us,